Today, we're digging into a story that has absolutely sent shockwaves through corporate India. It's raising some really tough questions about safety and accountability at one of the country's most respected companies, Tata Consultancy Services, or TCS. So, let's get right into it.
Just think about this for a second. You go to work every single day, right? It's supposed to be a safe, professional place. But what happens when that very place turns into the source of your biggest fears?
Well, that's exactly what's at the heart of this story. We're talking about incredibly serious allegations coming out of a TCS office in Nashik. Allegations of sexual harassment and even claims of people being pressured to convert their religion. This is way bigger than just one or two people. It's about a whole system that was supposed to protect its employees.
And what started as a single, brave report to the police, well, it quickly unraveled into something much, much bigger. It started to reveal a pattern of alleged abuse that until then had been completely hidden from view. So it all kicked off on March 25th when one female employee finally went to the police. But here's where things get interesting. The investigators, they didn't just stop there. They put out a public call, asking anyone else with similar experiences to please come forward. And wow, the response was immediate. By the beginning of April, the situation had just exploded.
A total of 9 separate police reports, or FIRs, were filed. Now get this, 8 of those came from female employees, all alleging things like harassment and inappropriate comments. And a 9th complaint came from a male employee, who said his religious sentiments were hurt. So right away it was clear this was not some isolated incident.
The police moved fast. 7 people were arrested in connection with these complaints, and there's reportedly still one more suspect out there. The fact that multiple senior-level employees were arrested really showed just how seriously the authorities were taking this.
As the investigation got deeper, the focus started to shift. It became less about the alleged actions of a few individuals and more about the potential failure of the entire corporate system that was supposed to stop this from ever happening in the first place.
And this quote from the assistant public prosecutor really gets to the heart of it. He argued that it was the HR department's inaction on earlier complaints that actually made the accused feel bolder, allowing them to continue exploiting the victims. That suggests this wasn't just happening in secret. And this might just be the most shocking part of the whole story. Multiple victims said they had already gone to HR. They followed the rules, they reported the issues internally, but allegedly, absolutely nothing was done. Now, if that's true, this whole thing changes from a case of individual misconduct to one of systemic corporate negligence. To really understand just how big of a deal that alleged inaction is, we need to take a quick look at the specific law in India that's designed to protect employees from exactly this kind of thing. It's called the POSH Act of 2013. POSH stands for the Prevention of Sexual Harassment, and it's a huge piece of legislation. Its entire purpose, its whole reason for being, is to make it law that every single employer has to provide a safe working environment for their female employees. It's not optional.
And the law is super clear about what companies have to do. They must create something called an Internal Complaints Committee, or an ICC. That committee is then required to formally log every single complaint, investigate it properly, and then take action quickly. The end goal? To create a workplace where people aren't afraid.
And that brings us right back to this case. The district collector has actually ordered a whole separate investigation just to figure out if TCS was following the POSH Act. Did they have a real functioning committee? Were complaints being swept under the rug? These are the huge questions they're trying to answer right now. So while everything happening in Nashik is deeply disturbing, it also seems to point to a much larger, more troubling trend. This isn't just a story about one office anymore. It's a story about corporate India as a whole.
The data here tells a really fascinating story. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, there were just over 400 cases of workplace harassment registered nationally in 2022. But if you look at what large companies themselves reported in the next fiscal year, that number jumps to over 1,100. That gap is huge, and most experts believe that even that higher number is just the tip of the iceberg because so many cases go unreported out of fear.
And this right here, this illustrates the fundamental problem perfectly. On paper, pretty much every company has a zero-tolerance policy. They have the mandatory committees, but for many employees, the reality on the ground is a fear of getting punished for speaking up, confusing systems, and a deep-seated feeling that nobody's going to take them seriously anyway. So, with all of that as a backdrop, where does the Nashik case stand today? What are the next steps in this search for answers and, hopefully, for some accountability?
Okay, here's the latest rundown. A special investigation team, an SIT, has been put together to handle all 9 cases as one big investigation. The HR manager from that Nashik office is currently in police custody and is a major focus. As for TCS, they've suspended the accused employees and put out a statement saying they have a zero-tolerance policy and are fully cooperating. And, like we mentioned, that separate investigation into whether the company followed the law is also underway.
All of this leaves us with one final, and I think crucial question. When a company has a zero-tolerance policy, who's actually responsible for making sure that's more than just a nice-sounding phrase on a corporate website? Is it just HR? Is it the top executives? Or is it something that has to be baked into the entire culture of a company? It's a question this case is forcing everyone to think about.